Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Natalie Vestal. I am the licensed acupuncturist at Red Dragon Wellness Center. Would you please let me know that you can hear me? Just say hi in the chat or on the comments, just so I know that the volume is working and all of my technical difficulties are hopefully over. Um, Thank you. I'm still a novice when it comes to tech. So if someone could let me know that you could hear me, that would be wonderful. All right. Until someone tells me they can't hear me, I'm going to assume that you can. So, hi, my name is Natalie Vestal. I'm the licensed acupuncturist at Red Dragon Wellness Center. And I've been practicing acupuncture and Chinese medicine for 12 years now, almost 13. And in that time, I have discovered a passion for a few specialties, one of which is trauma, mental, emotional, physical, overwhelm, all that mess. And so over the last year, I have been studying nervous system regulation through the lens of Chinese medicine. And as I've studied this, as I've learned about this, um, wonderful. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me. As I've been studying this, um, I have fallen in love with how powerful this is, how well it works. To adjust our mental and our emotional health and also our physical health, because our nervous system isn't just our mind, it's also our emotions, it's all of it. And so one of the things I wanted to do coming out of it is realizing that this work is amazing. It's awesome one-on-one, but there is so much more that we can do with it in a group setting. And so I started developing seminars, which you're going to hear more about in the coming months. But as I was doing that and as I was developing these classes that are going to help people feel their feelings, process the trauma, the overwhelm, the feelings that are stuck in their body, I realized that I needed there to be an option where I didn't feel like I was just sending people out into the world with all of this heavy emotions on their mind, heavy feelings in their body, and not really knowing what to do. And then they're expected to go to work the next day. Um, that doesn't always work out. So I wanted to give people a tool that they could use to figure out what's going on in their body, help their body process those emotions, help their body figure out what's going on, and not stay stuck in the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses that our nervous system uses to keep us safe. So, this is the class I came up with. This is a class that I teach at the downtown library, which is fabulous. They're such a great resource. And so I teach it for free there. I wanted to expand, and especially tonight with the election going on, I wanted people to have an option other than the news of what they could watch so that we could help feel our feelings, process what's going on, and not stay stuck in the desire to fight, to run, to pacify people around us, or to just shut down and freeze. So, without further ado, let's go. Oh, sorry. There we go. Let's go to the 5-minute reset. All right. And let's see if I can do this. Okay, cool. So, first and foremost, I want to welcome you to this moment. I want to welcome you to what you're experiencing. I want to welcome you to wherever you are, the room that you're in, your car, wherever you are. I want to welcome you to this moment. And I want you to look around your surroundings, and I want you to feel your feelings and notice your body. And I want you to notice what's happening in your body. What sensations are you feeling? Are you too hot or too cold? Do you need a blanket? Do you need to adjust your seating position so that you're more comfortable? Or your standing position, or your laying position? Welcome to this moment. And if there's anything that would make you even 2% more comfortable, make that adjustment so that you can notice what's happening around you and in you, and you can pay attention and hopefully learn something that will help you. We're going to have a couple rules. Now, some of these rules are a little different because normally I teach this in a classroom. The first off is confidentiality. Whatever is said in the group stays in the group. With the knowledge that this is a recorded forum, has a chat. Confidentiality is going to be a little more questionable. which is why there is a phone number scrolling at the bottom here. If you have any questions and you're not comfortable asking them yourself or putting them in the chat, you're always welcome to text our business line and ask your questions that way, and I'll try to answer them as I notice them. We're also going to respect each other's space. Again, this is a little less serious when we're in a virtual forum, but we're still wanting to respect each other while we're on here. So I have a couple of favorite definitions of what trauma is. So my favorite definition for the purposes of this class is overwhelm. Anytime we are overwhelmed, our body goes beyond its capacity in that moment. And that's traumatizing because trauma happens anytime we go beyond what we can handle right this second. So the answer to overwhelm is de-escalation. So we want to take whatever is going on and we want to give our brain either more time to process what's happening, more space to process what's happening, or more support to process what's happening so that it isn't as overwhelming for our nervous system. If you have any questions about what I'm saying throughout the process, please type them in the chat or shoot us a text so that we can answer those questions for you. We're going to agree to a couple things today. The first one is that our body's goal is to keep us alive. All right. Our body kind of functions like a 3 to 5-year-old. One of the things I love about having so many nieces and nephews is I can tell stories about my nieces and nephews and nobody knows who I'm talking about. So one of my nephews was in that potty training stage. And as it is with young men, part of learning to use the bathroom is knowing your body's urges and signals. And the other part of using the bathroom is aim. And so he had, for one of the first times, gone to the bathroom in the potty, and he was so proud. He had done such a good job. He ran and got his mom. He showed her his accomplishment. She was also super proud of him. But there was one issue. There was a little bit of a mess that needed to be cleaned up. And so she's like, all right, we got to clean up this mess. And so he was like, I'm going to help. So he and his little legs ran to the kitchen, grabbed a paper towel, ran back to the bathroom. And in his haste and eagerness to help, he missed one very important detail. That paper towel was still attached to the roll of paper towels. And he created this beautiful streamer running through the house. Was he trying to help? Yes. Yes, he was trying to help. Was it helpful? Maybe, maybe not. Our body is a lot like that. Our body is a 3 to 5-year-old. Our body believes that it is trying to help. And by trying to help, it is solving the one problem right in front of it and may not be paying attention to other problems that the body is creating in this process. So when we are overwhelmed, when we are panicked, when we are dealing with depression, anxiety, the sensation that nothing we do could possibly be right, and so many other things that we're going to talk about through this class, it's our body trying to help. It's our body trying desperately to keep us alive. It just isn't doing the best option because it doesn't have all the information. And so we're going to learn a technique tonight that we can repeat at any given time in order to kind of reset where our body is so that we can have that part of our brain that kind of can see that long term and know that we are safe and help guide our body and our peripheral nervous system. So the nervous system that goes beyond our brain, we can guide it through this process and help it know that it is safe and it's okay and it doesn't have to save our life the way it's trying to right now. We also need to agree that our body's desire is not a moral indicator, okay? Just because my body wants to do something does not mean that that's what I as a person truly want to do. There is a time where we have been angry, and when we are angry, we want to punch something or someone. Our desire to punch someone is not a moral indicator of who we are. If we choose to go ahead and use that violence, that is a moral indicator. But in this moment, when we are making a decision about what our body wants to do and trying to guide our body through its desires, know that your body's desire is not a moral indicator of who you are. Because we're going to take that desire and we're going to find a way to do what we need to do without harming ourselves or others. So looking at how our body tries to keep us alive, we're going to talk about the subconscious parts of our nervous system. So we have the sympathetic part of our nervous system, which is our life-saving reactions: fight, flight, freeze, or sorry, not freeze, fawn. It's all about acceleration. It's getting louder, it's getting bigger, it's going faster, it's moving more. And it develops before we are born. This is important to know. A baby comes out of the womb, and even before out of the womb, any mother can tell you, anyone who has carried a child can tell you, that baby can kick and punch and hit and move and squirm and do all of that before it's even born. That's your sympathetic nervous system. We come out of the womb ready to cry and shout. That is our sympathetic nervous system. For the first 6 months of our lives, our parasympathetic nervous system is developing. So our parasympathetic nervous system is about rest, repair, digestion, connection with the people around us. It's about deactivation, deceleration, slowing down, soothing, calming, all of that. The parasympathetic, like I said, develops between 0 to 6 months as the fastest part of its growth, and then 6 months to 18 months as a less vigorous time of growth. So, what that means is our nervous system, our ability to slow down the panic, to slow down the overwhelm, to come back to a place where we can think through what's happening and get creative and solve problems. When we're getting out of that fight or flight, that is developed from 0 to 18 months, which means the state of the nervous system of our primary caregivers from 0 to 18 months is what sets up our nervous system for how it's going to respond. Which means if your primary caregiver is stressed, or there's someone who tends to use fawn as a way to survive, or they tend to fight through their problems, or they tend to run from their problems, that's something that's going to come to your nervous system as well. If your primary caregiver is someone who can regulate their own nervous system so that they can take a deep breath, they can modulate what's happening in their nervous system so that they don't have to be in that panic mode, they don't have to be fight, flight, fawn, or even shut down into freeze, then our nervous systems learn that we can function that way as well. We can function in a way that is regulated, and we can learn to self-soothe. So that's why at 18 months, kids are like, oh, I can start to self-soothe myself. And you get 18-month-olds who are running off onto their adventures. And then things get big. Things go beyond what they can handle in that moment, beyond what their capacity for stressors are. And they come running back to their primary caregiver to give that soothing so that they know that they are safe, that they are loved, that they are protected. As we're developing these soothing methods, we have two ways of developing it. We have our dorsal vagus, and we have our ventral vagus. So the dorsal vagus, think of that as the emergency brake on your car. All right. It shuts it down. It's a situation where we are so overwhelmed that we're not worried about the future. We're not worried about what's happening after this. We just want the problem gone. And so we start in that sympathetic nervous system, that panic mode. We are driving down the road, going 60 miles an hour, and that's not solving the problem. So we pull the emergency brake. And when you pull that emergency brake, the car will stop, but you don't get to decide where it stops. And so that's the dorsal vagus shutdown. We think that we are so overwhelmed, we're probably not going to make it out of this situation alive. That's that part of our nervous system. The ventral vagus is soothing with connection. This is using the normal brake on your car. This is when we get overwhelmed and we call a friend. We text someone we care about. We reach out to someone we love for a hug. This is the ventral vagus. This is soothing through human connection. Hopefully all of this is making sense so far. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat. Oh, there we go. All right, so we have signals because our bodies are constantly reading the nervous systems of the people around us, because we are designed to be community beings. So we are designed to connect in community. What that means is that when I'm in the room with someone, my nervous system is reading their nervous system and trying to figure out what in the world is going on. What are we feeling? What are we noticing? So If we notice someone who is talking fast, like I have been, if we're noticing that they're talking with a higher pitch, that they're excited, whether that's happy excitement or stressed excitement, it's still excitement. We're noticing muscle tension. How tight, how braced are the people around us? Are they fidgeting? How fast are they breathing? We're noticing all of these things. And if we see that high speed, high energy, high excitement, then our nervous system is also going to get excited. If we see someone who's more relaxed, more at ease, maybe they're talking a little slower, they're using lower vocal tones, the same way we comfort a child. We might notice stomach gurgling or an appetite that often comes with parasympathetic. We're going to notice slower breathing, less less panicked breathing, smoother breathing. And that's going to tell us that the people around us are in that restful, digestive, connecting state of their nervous system. We're going to notice play and curiosity. Now, this is a spectrum between the two. We can go back and forth between them. And so sometimes we're excited and we're playful and we're curious. Sometimes we're more relaxed and playful and curious. But play and curiosity is the sign that our brain is not in panic. Because when our brain goes into fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, we struggle to be playful. We struggle to be creative because we struggle to think beyond what is absolutely necessary. So, playfulness and curiosity is an indicator that I use when I'm working with my clients to see where are we in our level of panic? Where are we in our level of overwhelm? Because if we can stay curious about what's about to happen, then we're not overwhelmed. We're in a maybe not comfortable, but we're in a um not controllable. We're able to function. We're able to function within our nervous system. We're able to move through the next moment. We're also going to notice rest and fatigue in the more parasympathetic side. So when we're looking at nervous system activation, I like to think of it as kind of a 0 to 10 pain scale. So 0, I'm dead asleep. I'm out of it. I'm not even dreaming. I am not conscious. It is wonderful. At a 1, I'm starting to stir. I'm starting to notice what's happening around me. I'm stretching. But I'm very relaxed. 2, I'm savoring what's happening. I'm starting to pay more attention to my surroundings. I'm getting a little more activated, but I'm still on a very relaxed side of things. 3, I'm paying attention to what's happening, but I'm excited. I'm more engaged and I'm relaxed. 4, I am full body engaged with what's happening. This is my friend that I haven't seen in years, and we are catching up on our lives, and it is exciting. And I'm so playful and curious and able to think through what's happening and be aware of my surroundings, but not worried or concerned about them. At 5, this is the puppy dog that just got released from the kennel. Puppy is excited, puppy is moving and grooving, and the tail is wagging, and things are happy and good and lovely. But there's a lot of energy. We're going from that parasympathetic at a 0 up to a sympathetic at a 5, but we're not stressed about it. At 6, things start to get a little stressed. We're excited, we're motivated, we're up, we're active, but there's the tone shift in it, and we're starting to kind of be like, something over there is weird. I'm not sure about it. So I'm aware of where my people are, who I need to gather up. I am aware of where my exits are. I'm getting less creative because I'm more focused on what I need to be aware of so that I know that I am safe and I can keep my people protected in this situation. 7, something is off. Something is wrong. I am grabbing my people. We are out of here. I don't care what happens. I don't care what needs to happen. My people are getting out of this place. At 8, my brain may no longer be remembering what's happening because this is a protective thing. My brain is not going to remember the horribly traumatic thing because my brain doesn't want me to relive it. So it may not be remembering everything, but I am still, my muscles are ready, my body is active, the adrenaline and cortisol are running. I'm doing what I need to survive this and help my people survive this. 9, I'm still fighting for my life, but I'm not sure I'm going to make it. And 10 is freeze. 10 is a beautiful state that our body has created to protect us from what could be horrible. We're not storing memories when we're in a freeze state. We are not we are not okay. Our body is pumping us full of endorphins because endorphins are natural painkillers. And so the body's goal is basically to make whatever horrible thing happens less horrible. So we are getting endorphins, our metabolism is slowing down, our heart rate is slowing down so that if we're bleeding less quickly. We are moving out of a state where we're sure we're going to live, and our body is trying to make it as pleasant as possible if we do die. It is a beautiful, loving thing, and it is absolute panic. The reason there is a lot of people that talk about like wanting to calm down the nervous system, and I don't like to talk about calming down the nervous system because calm is not always good. Because 0 and 10 on this scale look exactly the same. Both of those are very calm states, but that's not a state I want to be in. I don't want to be in fight, flight, freeze, and fawn for my life. And that's that like 6 to 10 is when I'm living in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. We want to stay basically below a 7 and function in our lives, because 6 and 7 is where we stop being able to be playful and curious. And so when we're doing trauma work, when we're experiencing memories, when we're feeling feelings that have been stuck in our bodies, we want to pendulate, which basically means go into something that is scary and back out at a rate that we never go past a 7. We always want to be able to stay curious about what's going on. I don't think that the 5-minute reset is ever going to get you to a place where you're past a 7, but life might. And when you're starting to get to that 6, when you're starting to get that, I don't think I can be curious anymore. That is a great indicator to be like, maybe I should do a 5-minute reset, which we're going to learn. So this is how our body is supposed to function with our nervous system. Okay. So number 1, we notice that there is a threat. We cry out for help. Hopefully help arrives. Hopefully this is a person who is actually safe to us, who can solve the problem without expecting anything in return. The threat is removed and we go to safety. So let's, for example, use a child skins their knee. Okay. So child skins their knee. They're playing on the playground. They cry. Primary caregiver who is loving, who cares about this person, who wants them to be happy, safe, well, and has done their own emotional regulation, self-regulation, so that they are not imposing things upon their kids. Comes over, oh, you poor thing. Oh, I bet that hurts. Validating their feelings, put some antibiotic ointment on it, puts a Band-Aid on it, kisses it to make it better. Kid's good. They go back to play. They have returned to safety. Maybe the parent or the primary caregiver is doing the best that they can, but they have not been able to do their own work. And so when they come up, the attitude in their body is, oh, this is so embarrassing. You embarrassed me. Oh, yes, let's clean this off. Here's a Band-Aid. Go play. That's going to start to sit in the kid's nervous system, and they're going to start to try to figure out what's going on so that they can get their needs met, because we all have a need for love. We all have a need for protection and support and encouragement and respect. So now that kid is going to start a new threat analysis with this family member or this primary caregiver who was unable to meet their needs, to try to figure out how to get those needs met. And that's a fawn response. Fawn is whenever we manipulate ourselves or others to get our needs met. So this person is now learning that I have to act a certain way in order to get my needs met. And so that's going to be their response, and they're going to learn that. But regardless, they're going to get to safety. And maybe they don't have ideal ways of getting to safety in this relationship, but hopefully they find people where they can have actual safety. Maybe they fall off the fall off the playground and no one hears them cry out. So they go into fight or flight. So maybe they stand up and they run to their primary caregiver, who then gives them the love and the protection and the safety, and cleans out the gravel and puts some antibiotic ointment on it and puts a Band-Aid, kisses it, makes it better. Maybe they use their muscles to push themselves up and fight through, or maybe they cry out louder. Those are fight responses. Maybe they do all that and the threat remains. Maybe this kid was older and they were playing by themselves and something went wrong. Maybe they're just completely overwhelmed by the fact that their knee hurts because they've never had a scraped knee before. And so they think that something horrible is going to happen. They think they're going to die because of the scraped knee. And that's when we go into freeze. Their body starts to shut down because they don't know that they can handle what happened, because their body is so overwhelmed. And so in that moment, their body thinks that this threat, this knee pain, is going to kill them. And so they're focused between preserving life and hoping this threat goes away. And their brain's going to go back and forth in this freeze until it notices that the pain is diminishing and that they can get up and they can walk and they can find safety. Their body's going to go back and forth between freeze and fight or flight until they can actually get to safety. Because we don't go out of freeze by getting to safety. We have to go back through fight or flight to get to safety. We have to get out of that shutdown. We have to fight for ourselves, and that's how we get to safety. Hopefully this makes sense. Once again, any questions, please add them to the chat. All right. Cool. There we go. All right. So life-saving reactions don't always get finished. Sometimes we get stuck in a fight response. This can look like disproportionate anger, irritability. This could be us attacking those we love. It could be us dealing with depression, which is anger at ourselves, muscle tension, jaw clenching, balled fists. We all know someone who is always like hunched and angry and tight. This is someone who's stuck in a fight response. Flight response look like fidgeting or running, anxiety. Maybe it's someone who's like constantly shaking their leg. These are people who want to run. Freeze responses can cause slowed metabolism, stonewalling, dissociation, the sensation of cold, or a fear to take action, because if they take action, they could fail, and that could lead to another fight or to another threat if they aren't able to do what they want to do. Fawn looks like inappropriate levels of connection, codependency or narcissism, because codependency is I'm going to change who I am in order to be safe with you. And narcissism is if you see the real me, you're not going to love me. So I'm going to show you a facade. Don't look at the man behind the curtain or woman behind the curtain. As you do this work, as you start regulating your nervous system, you may notice some changes in your body. You may notice that you're more tired, because if you've been stuck in a fight, flight, or freeze response or fawn response for decades, then your body hasn't actually gotten to rest in decades. And so you're going to be tired, you're going to be exhausted, and your body's going to need to rest. You may notice that sensations, physical or emotional, feel bigger, because freeze responses dissociate you from the world. It's like wearing all of this armor so nothing can actually get through and nothing can be felt. Well, if nothing can be felt, then when you take that armor off and you come out of that freeze response, then everything's going to feel more. So that's just something to be aware of before you get started. You're also going to notice more options. You're going to actually have the creativity to go, well, how can we solve this problem? We're not stuck with just option A and option B. We can get creative and find out new options. You may notice a greater sense of your body. Bessel van der Kolk, sorry, say his name right, teaches about, sorry, I just got a text. I want to make sure. Okay, we're good. Make sure it's not a question. Talks about how Bessel van der Kolk wrote the book, The Body Keeps Score. And it's all about how trauma affects us mentally, emotionally, and physically. One of the things that he noticed is that when people have tons of trauma stored in their body, they're very clumsy. And they're very clumsy because they don't have access to all parts of your body. As you process the trauma that's been stored in your body, you get a better sense of where your body is, what's going on with your body, what things feel like, what it is to be connected to your hands and your feet. You also get a greater sense of who you are. Because if you've been in a fawn response for years, if not decades, then you don't really know who you are. Who is the person behind the mask? You get to figure out who that is. You may also be more overwhelmed. And we talked about this just a few seconds ago with the heightened sensory experiences. You're taking off armor. You're experiencing things you haven't experienced before. And that can be very overwhelming. But you will also notice that you have a greater ease in moving between nervous system states. So when you get startled, you're more able to go back to a relaxed state because you've actually practiced going from afraid to a relaxed state. You're more connected with what's happening with your body, and therefore you are more able to know what's happening with your body, feel what's happening with your body, and get into and out of those fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses, as well as being able to be in a state that isn't any of those. So we're going to go through the 5-minute reset, and I'm going to tell you why we do each of the steps that we do. Because I'm the type of person where if you don't tell me why I have to do something, it's not going to happen. So I like to explain the why. So a few reminders as we do this. The goal is not to shut down the protective response. We don't want your body to be unable to fight when you need it. We don't want your body to be unable to flee. We don't want your body to be unable to fawn. We don't want your body to be unable to freeze, because these are things that may save your life. Instead, what we want is for your body to be able to move through and not stay stuck in those things, so that you can actually rest and digest and heal and connect. We're also going to reparent with patience, compassion, and recognition. We're going to see who we were at the time of when the emotions happened, and we're going to see who we are now and know that those may not be the same person, or they might be, but we're growing. We're not going to judge our body for anything it wants to do, and we're going to help it be creative enough to find ways to do that without harming ourselves or others. So the first part of the 5-minute reset is to ask yourself, am I actually safe? Because my dear, if you are in a situation where you need to run, please run. If you are in a situation where you need to fight, please fight. If you are in a situation where you need to fawn in order to get to a place of greater safety, please fawn and then get to a place of greater safety so you don't have to continue that pattern. If you are in a place where you have to freeze, sometimes that is necessary, my dear. But that doesn't mean you have to stay there. We use the protective responses for that brief window of time, and then we let them go back to rest. We let our bodies go back to rest. So, first question, am I actually safe? I'm in my office. No one else is here. I am safe. So, I'm going to verbally or in my mind say, in this moment, I am safe. We're then going to look for support. So right now I'm sitting in a chair. So I'm going to feel how my body is being supported. I'm going to feel the support of the ground underneath my feet. I'm going to feel the support of the chair underneath my hips. I'm going to feel how my hips are going up and how they are supporting my spine supporting my shoulders and my rib cage, my neck supporting my head. I'm going to notice those levels of support that are within my body. I am then going to take it one step further. Now that I have that physical support, I'm going to notice some emotional and mental support. So I'm going to metaphorically or really invite someone who helps me feel protected and supported, encouraged, and loved. So this does not have to be a physical human being. It can be anyone you imagine. It can be a loved one who has passed away. It can be a pet. It can be a relative who is not physically present. It can be a character in a book. It can be a person in your faith. One of my favorites is to invite the person that I want to be one day. What would a wiser version of me say in this moment? Because if I'm going to use something in my brain, I might as well start creating the person I want to be, if that makes sense. I also encourage people to use the background of their phone, because most of the time the background on our phone is someone we love and care about. And that can be a supportive person. If the person on the background of your phone, person, place, or thing is not supportive to you, maybe we find a new background. So, as I'm feeling the support, the physical support and the mental and emotional support, I am going to notice what my body is doing. Do I feel a muscle relax? Because that's a sign that my body is moving more into that parasympathetic rest, digest, connect. Do I notice my breathing? Do I take a nice deep breath without forcing it? Because we're using this as an indicator. We're not trying to make our body do anything. We're just using this as an indicator. So if I take a nice deep breath, I'm going to notice that my body spontaneously did that. That's a sign that I'm moving to rest and digest. Did my stomach gurgle? Did I belch or pass gas? There is no judgment in this class or in this practice for anyone passing gas. Just know that we're celebrating with you because it means that your body is moving more into that rest, digest, connect, and out of that freeze response. I'm then going to use my eyes. So if my body's in a freeze state, which we're assuming at the beginning of this, that my body is completely overwhelmed and in a freeze state, then my body doesn't want to move because if it moves, then the threat might come back. So I'm going to start with my eyeballs and I'm going to look around the room, not moving my head, not moving anything else, because if I move too much, the threat might see me. So just my eyes. I'm going to move them left and right, up and down. I'm going to look far away in the room and I'm going to look at something closer. And I'm going to keep moving my eyes around left and right, up and down, using as many directions as possible, because the more directions I move my eyes, the more cranial nerves are required. And the more cranial nerves are required, the more parts of my brain I'm telling I am safe, because I can't see a threat, so I must be safe. So I'm going to keep moving my eyes around and letting them slow down. I'm going to notice where my eyes want to look, what's easy to look at. I'm going to notice where my body isn't as excited to look. And when I notice where my body isn't excited to look, I'm going to notice where the edges of that are. And I'm just going to play with the edges. I'm not going to try to go straight to where my body doesn't want to look. I'm just going to notice the edges. All right. And in doing that, I'm going to look away. And then maybe I'll come back to the place where there's resistance. And I'm going to see if the line has moved, because we're going to play with it. We're going to see. We're going to be curious about what happens. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to notice that I just took a deep breath spontaneously. And when I notice that deep breath, when I notice my muscles relaxing, I'm going to, again, either verbally or in my head, remind myself that in this moment, I am safe. Then we're going to bring in our fingers and our toes, fingers or toes. So when I'm in that freeze response, I'm scared that that threat's going to show up. So I don't want to move something first that's essential to life. As morbid as it is, I can survive without a finger or a toe. So I'm going to ask my body, okay, body, because we're going to start asking our body some questions in this. Do you want to move your fingers or do you want to move your toes? And I'm going to let my body decide. It sounds crazy at first, but it's amazing how fast you realize, oh, no, my toes want to wiggle, or, oh, my fingers want to wiggle. So we're going to do the same sort of thing we did with our eyes. We're going to move our left side and we're going to move our right side. We're going to go up and down. We're going to expand whatever wants to move. We're going to contract whatever wants to move. We're going to notice what it feels like to take up space. We're going to notice what it feels like to shrink. How do my fingers want to move? Are there ways my fingers don't want to move? And we're going to stay curious about these things. We're going to try to figure out what in the world is going on. What does our body want? What does our body want? The same way we're trying to figure out what a 3-year-old wants. All right? So as I'm wiggling my toes, because my body decided toes right now, I notice a muscle relaxation. I notice that deep breath. I can feel that my nervous system is becoming less activated. And I'm going to remind myself, in this moment, I am safe. And when I feel ready, I'm going to move to the next step, which is my neck. So we're going to go back to the way we were moving our eyes around. Same deal. Left and right, up and down. But now I'm going to include my neck. So my range of motion is bigger. My range of perception is bigger. And I'm going to look around. And I'm going to notice again, Where does my body want to look? Where does it not want to look? Where is it easy? Where is there resistance? And if there's resistance, can I play with the edges? Like where's the edge of where my body doesn't want to go? And as I do that, I'm going to notice how my body feels. Like I just noticed there's some cracking in my neck, which is awesome because that means that my neck is relaxing. And I'm going to keep doing that until I notice a spontaneous breath, or I can feel a muscle release, or whatever it is that tells me that my body is becoming less activated. Okay. And then I'm going to remind myself, in this moment, I am safe. Now we're going to bring in the spine. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to once again increase our range of motion, increase our range of perception. And we're going to do the same thing with our torso. Waiting for that spontaneous breath, letting it go, and reminding myself that in this moment, I am safe. Now we're going to bring in our limbs. How do our arms and legs want to move? What would it feel like to take up more space? What would it feel like to take up less space? And again, we're asking our body, what limb wants to move first? Do we want to go with an arm or a leg? Do we want to go left or do we want to go right? What would it feel like to do these things? Checking messages real quick. Yep. Okay. Not for this talk. All right. Just making sure. All right. So how does my body want to move? What would feel good? How do I want to stretch? Do I want to tighten a muscle or expand a muscle? What do I want to do as I'm doing all of this? And then again, following our intuition, honoring where our body doesn't want to go, exploring into where our body does want to go. And when I feel that breath, when I feel muscles relax, I'm going to remind myself that in this moment, I am safe. Now we're going to check in again. Do I feel safer? Do I feel more regulated? Do I feel like I'm more in that rest and digest parasympathetic? Or do I feel more activated, more anxious, more angry, more fidgety, more desirous of human connection? What do I feel? And if I feel, yes, I am settled, yay! Go and handle whatever the challenge was that got you activated in the first place and made you nervous. Not yet? Yay! Let's find out what your body needs more of. So, how do we fulfill the desire of our body without harming ourselves or others? So, basically at this point, we're assuming that we're out of freeze. If our body has been able to relax into this full body movement, we have started to come out of freeze. Now, if you're in a functional freeze where you are basically living in a freeze state, which we will delve into in other seminars. This is going to be a practice. This is going to be something that you learn to help teach your body to come out of. But if you're in this fight, flight, or fawn now, because we've come out of freeze and now there's something unsettling in our body and we want to deal with it, then we need to ask ourselves, do I feel like I want to fight? Do I feel like I want to flee? Or do I feel like I want to fawn? So if I want to fight, then I'm going to clench my fists and release them. Clench my glutes and release them. My feet, my abs. I'm going to pick whatever wants to tighten up and protect me, and I'm going to let it do it. And I'm going to hold that until my body is ready to release. Till my body is ready to go, okay, we fought. We fought hard and we won the fight. Maybe I'm going to punch, kick, or fight into the air. Or maybe I'm just going to do it in my own mind, in my own imaginings. And as I do these things, I'm going to slow them down. Because the slower I do it, the more time it gives my brain to process what's happening, to feel those feelings, and to be able to understand what's going on and realize that right now my life is not in danger. In this moment, I am safe. A couple of my favorite fight ones are snarling, because our brain has a relationship with our face. Anytime we make a facial expression, it tells our brain that's how we should be feeling. That's why some people will like really fake smile when they're about to get angry. Because if I fake smile, it tells my brain I should be happy. I'm not happy in that moment though. But if we acknowledge that we're angry and we let ourselves snarl like a tiger or like a dog, curl up that lip, make the noises too. Let yourself take up space. Let yourself do what your body needs to do so that you can feel what's happening. You can process the desire of your body to fight and you can let it go. Silently screaming is also amazing. You're going to do every act that you would if you were screaming your lungs out, but you're not going to make a sound because we don't want to harm ourselves or others. We don't want to scare the people around us unless you're alone or in an open field, in which case have a field day. But if it's a situation where you would harm others by being loud, then let's choose to do it silently. So we're gonna screw our face like we're screaming. We're gonna tighten our arms and our abs like we're pushing every bit of air out. And we're gonna let ourselves scream. And as we do that, we're gonna slow it down. We're gonna give our brain tons of time to process what's happening, and we are gonna let ourselves win. If you're stuck in flight, you can sway back and forth, moving from one foot to the other, because that's telling your brain that you're moving, that you're walking. Again, slow it down. Let your brain process that you can move, that you're not stuck, you're not trapped, you can escape. When you notice that you're fidgeting, whether you're clicking a pen or shaking your leg or whatever your fidget is, notice what's happening, slow it down, and let your body process what its desire is, what it is subconsciously doing. If you're shaking a leg, you're probably wanting to run. So let your leg shake and slow it down. If you're in a place where you can't actually get up and move, then imagine that you're running. But don't just run from, run to. Run to a place where you feel protected and loved and cared for. And slow it down. Let yourself glory in how fast you are running as you slow-mo race and like you're in an action movie. Let yourself escape, but notice it happening. Don't rush it. If you're someone who tends to fawn, then the real desire is to connect to a safe person who will see you, know you, and still love you. So connect to a person who is safe. Whether that's a person who is physically on this earthly plane or it's someone else. Use someone from your faith. Use a book character that made you feel safe and loved and protected. Use a pet that would curl up in your chest and let you know you weren't alone. Use a future version of yourself who loves the person that you are for exactly who you are and is so grateful that you are making the steps right now to create them. Slow down the experience. Don't rush it. Let yourself be comforted. Let yourself be protected. And as we've done those things, as we feel what our body is doing, as we notice what our body wants, let's check back in. Do I feel more settled now? Do I feel more prepared to handle the next challenge? And if not yet, go back into fight, go back into fawn, go back into flight, and slow it down even more until you know that you have won the fight, that you have escaped the threat, and that you are loved and comforted. All right. So notice kind of where your body is right now. All right. Because we're about to do this together. All right. So, we're not. Yep. There we go. All right. You can do this laying down. You can do this sitting down. You can do this standing. There are no rules about how you do this as long as we do not harm ourselves or others. All right. So I want you to get comfy. I want you to notice where you are. Okay. First question, are you actually safe? Is the sensation you're feeling trying to save your life? Or is it just overreacting or reacting to something and it's not going to be able to save your life? Okay. At this time, I am safe. So I'm going to remind myself in this moment, I am safe. I'm going to notice the support of the chair under me. I'm going to feel it holding me, lifting me, protecting me. I'm going to feel the ground under my feet, and I know that I can trust it. I'm going to feel the muscles and the way they support my body, my shoulders and my neck. I'm going to notice that spontaneous deep breath and my neck relaxing. I'm going to think about someone who has made me feel loved and protected. And I'm going to invite the way I think of them, the person that they are, to join me. I'm going to notice another spontaneous deep breath. And I'm going to remind myself that in this moment, I am safe. Then I'm going to invite my eyes to wander the room. Where do my eyes want to look? Left, right, up, down, far away, or closer? Where are my eyes curious to go? And where do they want to avoid? Can I play with the edges of where they want to avoid? And then can I go back to where my body is comfortable? I'm going to notice a breath. Oh, I'm going to notice a deeper breath. I'm going to notice relaxation. And I'm going to remind myself that in this moment, I am safe. Then I'm going to ask my body if it wants to wiggle my fingers or my toes. Do we want to start with the left side or the right side? Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to notice how my body wants to move. And as my body feels heard, I notice that it relaxes. I notice another deep, spontaneous breath. And I'm going to remind myself that in this moment, I am safe. I'm going to invite my neck to help my eyes look around. I'm going to notice where my neck wants to move my head and where my eyes want to go. I'm going to notice where there's resistance and play with the edges of that resistance. Nice deep breath. Muscles relaxing. In this moment, I am safe. I'm going to invite my spine to move. How does my spine want to move? What would it feel like to stretch or to contract? What would that feel like in my body? Oh, yeah. I'm going to notice the cracking in my neck as my muscles relax. Oh, that feels good. I'm going to notice the spontaneous breath. I remind myself that in this moment, I am safe. And I'm going to ask my body, how do my limbs want to move? I'm going to stretch my arms because right now that's what my body wants. But what does your body want? Oh, nice breath. More relaxation. I celebrate that I'm making noise because my body doesn't want to make noise and freeze either. In this moment, I am safe. Do I feel settled? Or I need to get some more wiggles out? Does my body need something more? So, if my body needs something more, then we're going to invite our body to do what it needs in a way that does not harm ourselves or others. All right? So, what does your body want? What does your body need? How would it feel safe? What would make it feel safer? Do you need to do it physically or in your own mind? Let yourself fight. Let yourself flee. Let yourself find the support that you need. And when your body tells you that the fight is over, that you have escaped, or that you are supported, when you feel that de escalation in your body, remind yourself that in this moment, you are safe. Notice what it feels like in your body. If you have any questions and would like to type them in the chat, this is a great time to do that. All right. So we're going to do the 5-minute reset one more time. And I'm going to give you less guidance, or at least less input about what my body is doing, so you can pay more attention to what your body is doing, okay? So, and then we will get to any questions in the chat after that. So let's do the 5-minute reset one more time. First, are you actually safe? Look at your surroundings. Are you safe? Then remind yourself, in this moment, I am safe. Feel the support under you. How do you know that it is trustworthy? What tells you that you are being held, loved, and supported? Invite someone or something that makes you feel protected to join you. And when you notice a spontaneous breath, a muscle relaxing, when you notice the sign that your body is moving towards rest, digest, healing, and connection, remind yourself that in this moment, you are safe. Invite your eyes to look around the room. Where do your eyes want to look? Where's there resistance to your eyes looking? Can you play with the edges and be curious about where it is? Can you move back to that place where it was easy to look? Left and right, up and down, moving slowly. And when you notice a deep breath, a muscle relaxing, or any other sign that your body is relaxing, remind yourself that in this moment, you are safe. Now ask your body, do you want to wiggle your fingers or your toes? Left and right, up and down, expanding and contracting. What do you notice as you wiggle your fingers or toes? When you notice that de-escalation, we're not in a rush. Whenever it happens, remind yourself that in this moment, you are safe. Invite your neck to get involved. What happens as you look around the room now? Left and right, up and down, distant and near. When you notice that your body is de-escalating, remind yourself, in this moment, I am safe. Would you like to get your spine involved? What's that feel like? To stretch, to contract. Left, right, up or down. What does that feel like in your body? How does your body want to move? And when you notice that spontaneous breath, that muscle relax, that stomach gurgling, remind yourself that in this moment, you are safe. How would your limbs like to move? Would it feel good to stretch? Or does your body want to contract? Do you want to move your arms or your legs first? Left side, right side? What would feel good? And when you notice those signs of de-escalation, that deep breath, that muscle release, however it shows up in your body, Remind yourself that in this moment, you are safe. If you've reached this point and you feel amazing, then savor that. If you've reached this point and you're noticing activation in your system still, maybe tightness, maybe stress, maybe you just don't feel settled into your body, then ask yourself, what do you need? Sorry, wrong way. Do you need to fight? Do you need to run? Do you need to fawn? Do you want to fawn? If you need to fight, give your body that chance. Win the fight and escape. If you want to flee, let your body flee. Slow it down until you escape. If you need to connect to a person who protects you, then connect to that person, place, or thing where you felt protected. Slow down the interaction. Let yourself be comforted and protected. Let yourself fight. Let yourself run and escape. Let yourself connect. And when you are ready, when you have fought the good fight, when you have finished the race, when you have reached connection, let yourself know that in this moment, you are safe. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope that you're able to take this into your life. And when stressors arise that feel like they may just be too much, you can use this to help you feel safe, help you feel supported, protected, loved, encouraged, and even respected. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. If I see any later, I'll do my best to answer you. Have a wonderful evening, y'all, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.